the world according to Briggs. Today we're looking at 10 states winning the migration war right now. This is not a list of the best states in America. That would just turn the comment section into Texas, Florida, and one guy from Vermont yelling about goats and maple syrup. This is about states winning America's migration war. People are leaving expensive states, crowded states, high-tax states, and places where buying a starter home requires 3 jobs and a seance. They're moving to states that still look cheaper, warmer, freer, and slightly less financially abusive. But here's why you need to stick around to the end of the video. The states winning today might be the states people complain about tomorrow. Because once everyone discovers the affordable hidden gem, it stops being affordable and starts building luxury apartments named after whatever used to be on that plot of land. Happened in California, like everywhere in California. So today, that's what we're doing. Let's take a look. Number 10, Idaho. Idaho grew because it looked like the last escape hatch in the West. Mountains, space, outdoor recreation, conservative politics, lower density, and enough scenery to make Californians whose parents were probably from the Midwest stare out their window and whisper, "What if we moved to Idaho and complained about the lack of sushi?" Boise, Meridian, Nampa, Eagle, Coeur d'Alene all became magnets for people wanting the Western lifestyle without California prices, Oregon weirdness, or Seattle's traffic. For a while, Idaho looked like normal life still existed out west. A house, a yard, some space, maybe even a neighbor who owns tools and strong opinions, not like California where they just got opinions and shockingly white teeth. But the secret on Idaho got out. Idaho didn't get discovered slowly. It got discovered like someone kicked open a saloon door and yelled, "Cheap mountains and free beer." Home prices jumped in places people actually wanted to live. Locals watched out-of-state money roll in, and suddenly the guy complaining about Californians at the diner was sitting next to 3 of them discussing black widows, pickleball courts, and modern farmhouse energy. Idaho's still winning, but the affordability gap isn't what it used to be. Local wages don't always match the new home prices, especially if you aren't bringing in a remote salary from Seattle or San Jose. Idaho wanted growth, Idaho got growth. Now it looks like a guy who invited a few friends over and they turned out to be squatters. Number 9, Arizona. Arizona keeps growing because from a distance it looks like freedom with palm trees and stucco everywhere. Sunshine, desert views, golf courses, retirement communities up the butt, lower taxes than California, and big subdivisions that appear overnight like someone spilled beige Legos across the desert. Phoenix, Mesa, Queen Creek, Buckeye, and Tucson have all pulled people in looking for space, newer homes, and a lifestyle that doesn't require offering your firstborn to buy a 2-bedroom near train tracks. And yes, Arizona's hot. We know. Telling people Arizona's hot is like warning them that the ocean is damp. Everyone got the memo. We don't need to discuss it. The real issue here, though, is water. They don't have much of it. Arizona's growth depends on groundwater, reservoirs, Colorado River allocations, and long-term planning that has to work while millions of people keep showing up with pools, lawns, golf courses, car washes, and decorative ponds named after birds that have never been there. You could build houses fast, you could widen the roads, you can open another brunch place with exposed ductwork, but you can't build another Colorado River behind a Costco. Arizona isn't doomed, despite what the Internet Disaster Choir keeps singing, but every growth era may be getting harder to pull off. Number 8, Alabama. I just did a video on how you'll regret moving to Alabama, but here they are. They're winning. It doesn't have Florida beaches, commercials, Texas swagger, or North Carolina's polished relocation brochures. Alabama has mostly spent years being a national punchline for people who couldn't find Huntsville on a map with both hands and a flashlight. But Alabama has quietly become attractive to some people that are normally tired of living in more expensive states. Huntsville has aerospace, defense engineering, tech, and an economy that surprises people who think that all Alabama is football, humidity, and people missing most of their teeth. Baldwin County and the Gulf Coast pull retirees. Birmingham, even though it's dangerous, still has healthcare, universities, and cultural weight. And in a country where affordable housing now feels like something from a museum exhibit, Alabama still has places where you could buy without selling plasma and apologizing to your banker for even coming in. Alabama's pitch is simple. It's not trendy, it's not flashy, it's just affordable. Basically, move here, buy a house that could fit all your cars, and you won't have to park on the street. But the warning is obvious. Alabama's growth is uneven. Huntsville is not the whole state. Coastal Alabama is not the whole state. Poverty, education gaps, rural healthcare, and infrastructure problems are still very real. Alabama can be a good deal, but sometimes it's like buying a cheap used truck. It runs, it looks fine, then you open up the glove box, find rat poop, and a medical bill. Number 7, Georgia. Georgia is growing because Atlanta is a giant economic engine with Waffle Houses orbiting around it. People move here for jobs, film, tech, logistics, banking, healthcare, universities, suburbs, and the feeling that something's happening here. For people leaving the Northeast, the Midwest, or the West Coast, Georgia offers warmer weather, more house for the money, and a major metro area that still feels more attainable than New York, Boston, Seattle, or Los Angeles. You get career opportunities, a huge airport, professional sports, trees, restaurants, and enough traffic to remind you that success always comes with a curse. Atlanta traffic is legendary in the worst possible way. The metro keeps stretching outward, which means longer commutes, more road pressure, crowded schools, and people buying houses so far from work that their closest relationship is with a left turn lane. Georgia will probably keep winning around Atlanta, Savannah, Augusta, and the northern suburbs. But if the housing keeps rising and the traffic keeps eating people's souls, one brake light at a time, the deal starts looking less magical. Number 6, Florida. Florida's still winning, but it doesn't have the same cocky little strut that it had a few years ago. For a long time, Florida was the final boss of domestic migration. Retirees wanted it, remote workers wanted it, business owners wanted it. People from New York, New Jersey wanted it so badly, they moved there and immediately complained the bagels were wrong. But they stayed. Even though the bagels were wrong, there's nothing worse than a bad bagel. But the pitch was powerful. No state income tax, beaches, sunshine, warm winters, boating, golf, theme parks, and the ability to live somewhere that looks great on a postcard if you crop out the traffic. But Florida's migration story has changed. Its old bargain is getting harder to defend. Home prices jumped, insurance turned into a second mortgage with paperwork, condo fees and inspection costs started smacking people in the face, hurricanes remain a yearly reminder that paradise occasionally throws patio furniture through windows, and traffic in parts of Florida have gotten so bad that if your car reaches 20 miles per hour during rush hour, you feel like it's a win. Florida is not done growing. People will always move there because winter exists elsewhere, and a large portion of Americans want to retire near palm trees and shrimp served in baskets. But Florida is now competing with its own price tag. It's still winning the migration war, but for the first time in a while, Florida looks a little winded. Number 5, Tennessee. Tennessee is winning because it offers a very powerful modern American fantasy. No state income tax, pretty scenery, music, mountains, lakes, mid-sized cities, lower costs than many coastal states, and just enough southern charm to make people believe their life will improve if they buy boots and start saying y'all. Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, parts of Middle Tennessee have become relocation magnets for people who want this type of lifestyle without Florida's humidity circus and Texas-sized sprawl. Now, Nashville is the shiny engine that most people go to, but Tennessee's growth is not just Nashville. Knoxville has become a magnet for people who want the mountains without paying Colorado prices. Chattanooga has been selling itself as scenic, outdoorsy, and more interesting than people expect. Smaller towns around the state are pulling in retirees and remote workers who want a slower life but still want a Costco within a reasonable striking distance, because apparently modern civilization ends when bulk paper towels are more than 35 minutes away. The problem is that Tennessee's brand has become almost too successful. Nashville is not cheap anymore. The city went from affordable, cool alternative to subdivisions that cost way too much. Traffic has gotten worse, locals are frustrated, and some growth areas are seeing the usual boom state side effects. More subdivisions, more congestion, and more people acting shocked that everyone else also read the same best place to move to article. Number 4, Utah. Utah belongs on this list because it has been one of the strongest growth states in the Mountain West for years. People move there for the jobs, the scenery, the safety, the outdoor recreation, family-friendly suburbs, and the ability to marry 3 or 4 wives. Just kidding. They don't let you do that anymore. In case you were hoping, no, it's illegal. Some people still do it, but it's illegal. Salt Lake City, Provo, Lehigh, St. George, Ogden, and the Wasatch Front have all helped turn Utah into one of those states that used to feel underrated and now feels like half the country's backup plan. The appeal is easy to understand. Utah has mountains that look like they were designed by someone showing off, and national park access. So many national parks. That's a weird thing about Utah. They have so many national parks. Zion, Capitol Reef, Arches, Bryce Canyon, and of course Canyonlands. For people leaving California, Oregon, Washington, or Colorado, Utah can feel like the same Western lifestyle with fewer parking lot needles and fewer conversations about whether the studio apartment is technically cozy or just a pantry with plumbing. But Utah's slowdown risk is not some mystery hiding in the sagebrush. It's housing. The state got expensive fast, especially along the Wasatch Front and in places like St. George. Utah used to feel like a practical Mountain West option. Now parts of it feel like Colorado's younger sibling who learned the same bad real estate habits, but still insists it's totally different. The other issue is that Utah's growth is geographically squeezed. A lot of the population and the jobs are packed into one area around the Salt Lake metro area, that whole area. The Wasatch Front is what it is, where mountains, lakes, desert, and limited buildable land create pressure. That means growth does not spread out smoothly. It piles up. Roads get busier, houses get tighter, and every open field starts looking nervous because a developer may already have named it Elk Ridge Vista Point, despite the elk having left in 1998. Utah's still winning the migration game. It has jobs, beauty, safety, and a strong state identity. But the affordable alternative label is wearing thin, and that matters to a lot of people. The state may keep attracting people, but the pace could slow down as newcomers realize mountain views are free only until someone builds a townhouse directly in front of them. Number 3, Texas. Texas is still the heavyweight in the migration war. U-Haul ranked Texas as the number 1 growth state in 2025, and it is ranked first multiple times over the past decade. Texas has the kind of relocation pitch that other states would sell a kidney for. No state income tax, huge job market, energy, tech, logistics, manufacturing, major universities, giant airports, big homes, big roads, big suburbs, big personality, and a state identity so loud that it probably has its own echo. Texas grows because it has something most states can't fake: scale. If you don't like Dallas, try Austin. If Austin got too expensive, try San Antonio. If Houston is too humid, well, tough. There's jobs there, so that's that. If you want suburbs, Texas has suburbs that appear to reproduce overnight. Texas is less like a state and more like a continent with brisket and property tax bills. Texas has real pressure points, though. Property taxes can be brutal. Home insurance is not exactly sending love letters, heat is becoming harder to ignore, and some areas have water concerns. Traffic in the big metro areas can drain the life right out of you, one lane at a time. And the affordability advantage is not what it was, especially in Austin and more desirable suburbs around Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, and San Antonio. Texas may not stop growing, but the growth could shift. The big cities may get less attractive while outer suburbs and smaller cities keep exploding. That's not always a clean win, because when everyone moves further out to find affordability, you get longer commutes, stretched infrastructure, and communities that sometimes look less like towns and more like someone copy and pasted garages onto farmland. Texas is winning big, but Texas says everything is big. Well, that includes their problems. They say everything's bigger in Texas, so that's true. So are their problems. Number 2, North Carolina. North Carolina might be the most balanced migration winner in America right now. It has mountains, beaches, universities, healthcare, banking, tech, military communities, mid-sized cities, small towns, and enough variety to appeal to retirees, young professionals, families, remote workers, and people who want to leave New York but still want to have access to at least somewhat of a entertainment schedule. The state is not selling one dream. It's selling you a menu. You get to choose what you want. That balance is the secret. Charlotte has banking and corporate jobs. Raleigh, Durham, and the Research Triangle have tech, research, healthcare, and universities. Wilmington gives people the coastal lifestyle. Asheville has mountain appeal. And smaller cities like Winston-Salem, Greensboro, and Fayetteville offer affordable alternatives. Now, I've been to Fayetteville before, and I would not recommend it. Been a lot of years. You got Fort Bragg there. I don't know what it's called right now. They changed all the names a while back. But, yeah, I never really thought Fayetteville was all that great, but a lot of people say it is now. My experience there is a little dated, so tell me what you think in the comment section. North Carolina can pull in different kinds of movers for different reasons, which makes it more flexible than states relying on one big metro or one lifestyle gimmick, like Portland. But North Carolina's future growth could slow because the most desirable areas are getting expensive and crowded as we speak. Raleigh-Durham is no longer some sleepy bargain hiding in the pine trees. Charlotte traffic has become a daily reminder that prosperity and brake lights often arrive together. Wilmington is not as cheap anymore, and Asheville has had recent storm-related struggles that remind everyone that mountain charm does not come with a force field. North Carolina is still a major winner, maybe the cleanest overall winner on this list, but the state is moving into a new phase. It's no longer just attracting people because it's affordable. It's attracting people because it's desirable, and those two things are very different. Affordable places can stay overlooked for a while. Desirable places get expensive, crowded, and eventually start producing locals who mutter things in grocery store parking lots while staring at an out-of-state license plate. All right, before we get to number one, if you're thinking about moving to any one of these states, there's a link for Home and Money in the description area below. They can get your real estate agent anywhere in the country. All right, on to number one. And number one, South Carolina. I know some people will expect Texas or Florida at number one, but South Carolina might be the more interesting winner right now. Texas is obvious, Florida has been obvious for years, and North Carolina is the polished honor student. South Carolina is the one that quietly showed up, started taking everyone's lunch money, and somehow convinced half the East Coast it has been underrated all along. South Carolina is winning because it sits in a sweet spot. It is warmer than the Northeast, cheaper than much of the Mid-Atlantic, more relaxed than the big coastal metros, and still varied enough to attract different kinds of movers. Retirees look at Myrtle Beach and the coast, families look at Greensville, Spartanburg, remote workers look at smaller towns with lower costs, and people priced out of Charleston look inland and pretend that it was the plan all along. The state benefits from having multiple growth stories happening at the same time. It has coastal growth, inland growth, retire growth, job-related growth, and lifestyle growth all pulling wagons together. That is powerful because it means South Carolina is not depending on one city or one trend. It has become the maybe we should look there state for people in New Jersey, Maryland, New York, Massachusetts, California, and other places where the cost of living has started acting like it wants to kill you. So South Carolina gets the top spot because it feels like a state standing directly in the doorway between hidden bargain and everybody knows. It is still winning, it still has momentum, it still has a strong pitch, but the bill is already being printed somewhere in the county planning office, probably next to the map of another 900-home subdivision named after a wildlife it displaced. All right, that's today's video. If you like this one, you probably like this one right here. It's about why people regret moving to Alabama. We talked about it earlier. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.